committee leader, I'll come to it, Ms. Thandi, as well as Mr. Hans from the board of EMC. Please, can we have the music going now? Wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's we all give them a round of warm, warm applause. They look fantastic with their black gowns and their hats. Let me once again start again. These people were led by Zenzile Wamana, Mr. Hans Modipane, their tutor, Ms. Vani Mudli, as well as Ms. Thandi Sabelo. Thank you for our leaders as well as the graduates. I think they're going to be taking a few photos and then go back to their seats. Thank you. You all look fantastic today. I think in the meantime, you can take a seat. I'm feeling a bit tired for you. Please take a seat. Thank you. Thank you very much, graduates. Thank you. Enjoy that nice feeling with that lovely gown, the silk gown and the hat. Okay, while the graduates are settling down, maybe if you could give me a few minutes of your attention, please. Good morning, and to each and every one of you. Each and every one of you are super special and VIP, so I'm not going to list them all. You are all warmly welcome to this eThekwini Maritime Cluster graduation ceremony. My name is Yvonne Aya, and I will be your program director for today. For me, it is indeed a very good and a beautiful morning to spend this super special day with a mixture, a group of different age groups of graduates. I've never come across such a thing. So can we just put our hands together once more for the benefit of this mixed age group that is graduating. I'm really very excited, and I would like for all of you to be excited for them, cheer them on, clap for them, whistle for them, do whatever makes it happy. This is a very, very happy and a special moment. I didn't sleep last night because I thought about you all. And when I spoke to some of the graduates, they said they didn't sleep as well. So really, let's make this 2 hours a moment for us to really enjoy, capture it. And whilst we're talking about capturing, I'm not too sure how good you guys are on social media, but I think eThekwini Maritime Cluster would really appreciate it if you could, on all their social media platforms, if you could take some photos, say a few things on their Twitter handle. I think the page went around because I'm going to say it quickly and you're not going to grasp it. But please, on their Twitter handle, it's at EMC_maritime. Their Facebook, if you look for them, you search for them, you'll find them as eThekwini Maritime Cluster. And their Instagram is maritime_cluster. Please remember, eThekwini Maritime Cluster will appreciate it if you could tweet, hashtag, and send some photos. We need the whole world, or maybe let's say we need the whole of Durban to know that you're here graduating as small businesses, and there is hope. So, if there's anything that you remember for this whole graduation period, I want you to remember the word hope. You are a group of hopefuls that we are hoping that would make a change to our society, to our children, to our grandchildren, to the generation to come. We are hopeful and we are hoping that you would go forward. So, without further ado, I think it's a very important ceremony today. And to officially and formally welcome you, I'd like to call upon the Acting Managing Director for eThekwini Maritime Cluster, Ms. Zenzile Kwamanda. Please excuse me, I'm going to be stumbling on names and surnames, but I'll try my best, okay? Thank you. And can we give Zinzi a nice warm round of applause, please?
Thank you, Program Director. Greetings to Mr. Hans Mudipali, the Chairman of EMC Board, Ms. Tandi Sabelo, the Deputy Head of Supply Chain Management, Mr. Takalani Ratiaya, the Deputy Head of Economic Development for eThekwini Municipality, our special guest, Mr. Bongosi Makatini, who is the Director for Medical Waste Management, and also Umhlonishwa Babu Kanzela Umakanya. And special greetings also to all our guests who are here with us today, and also to the VIPs, the actual VIPs of today, which is our graduates. A round of applause for them. This is an enterprise and supplier development program. It's actually an incubation program powered by Transnet Port Authority, which actually started 3 years ago. And TPT has been part of our project from start up until the end. And I would like to give them a round of applause for believing in us as a cluster and supporting our program. Thank you so much. And then us as the maritime sector and as the eThekwini Maritime Cluster, we are, this year we turned 13. We are actually teams now. We've gotten into a team stage. We are a small organization that's growing, a lot of hope and potential. And when our programs that we're currently running, and the main focus being to, open that a platform for collaborative engagement, for the different maritime stakeholders. And our stakeholders, they include your government departments, they include the industry, they include the community at large, the higher education and training, the basic department of education, everyone who has an interest, within the maritime sector. And we gather and discuss different topics of interest. And our programs are built around the 4 pillars, which is the enterprise and supply development, the training and skills development, marine manufacturing, and also the industry promotion. So this particular program here, which is the enterprise and supplier development incubation program that we started in partnership with TPT. When we started, we were actually looking at the SMMEs who are already in business, but they are saying, hey, we need somebody to educate us about the opportunities within the maritime sector. We also want to be part of the maritime value chain, and we also want to benefit from those opportunities, but we do not know what's there, we do not know where to even start. So when TPT came through and said, cluster, yes, we are raising our hands. We wanted to partner with you. Then we started the recruitment process, and then we started the journey with about 40 SMMEs. It hasn't been an easy journey. We've lost some people along the way, people who are not, do not have the patience, enough patience to enjoy the process. Because these people, as much as we are still busy trying to prepare ourselves for the new space, the industry that we are all penetrating for the first time, we don't know what is happening. We also need to put food on the table today. So it was a combination of a lot of things, and it really needed people with a vision, people who really wanted to be part, of this community and have the patience to have to go through the training, which was very intense. It incorporated both practical and also the classroom. And yes, I'm not going to get into too much details around this because we still have the people who were part of our training who are still going to be telling me more about exactly what happened, on the day. But for today, all I want to say to TPT, in Zulu we say, izandla zidlula ikhanda. Thank you so much. Thank you for walking the journey with us. Thank you for your patience. And we're really hoping that this is not the end, but it's actually, we are on a journey. And also to the graduates, as they graduate today, getting those certificates, having completed your training, this is also not the end, but this is the beginning. You've now been capacitated, you have been trained, and now this is the time for us to go out there and position ourselves for better opportunities out there. Some of us will share their success stories because we already have some success stories to share of the program. But for now, we're saying, let us enjoy the day. Let us have fun. This is not classroom anymore. Today, we're just coming here to celebrate and have fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really thank you. Thank you, Program Director.
I think from what I took from what Zenzi said was the word hopeful again. And you guys are on this new journey and new beginnings. And the fact that you guys have been patient to be, I think there's 19 graduates from a total of 40. It means that you were the super special ones to continue on the journey, accepting EMC's challenges. So thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the very important program. Ladies and gentlemen, we've noticed and understood what Zenzi's role, and we're going to be calling a lot of role players so that you will understand how this whole piece of this puzzle works with the maritime sector. So Zenzi, there's a structure just above her, which is the board of directors. And basically, the most important function of the board is to approve and send back recommendations about the future direction of the cluster. So today we are honored and we're delighted to have the board chairperson, who is Mr. Hans Modipane, to share a few words of wisdom with us today. I'm actually very honored and I'm very excited to know he's a young, vibrant individual. So we don't have very many older people in these positions, and it's really good to see young youths such as this that have many years of previous experience in the shipping industry, leading an organization such as Maritime Cluster. So let us put our hands together and welcome the very handsome Mr. Hans Modipane.
Program director, thank you so much. I don't know if I still qualify as a youth, but maybe I look the part. Yeah, so Dimelang Lotle, I'm a Tswana guy from Pretoria. I'm a foreigner in KZN, but we are all South Africans. So I'll say Dimelang, Sanbonani, and thank you again for honoring the call, Yvonne, and coming to help us with directing the program today. I want to acknowledge all honorable guests in attendance. eThekwini Maritime Cluster's key strategic partners represented here today by Sister Ndisabelo, TPT Head of Supply Chain Management, and her colleagues, and Mr. Takalani Ratiaya, Deputy Head of eThekwini Municipality's Economic Development Unit, and his colleagues as well. And a special and warm welcome to Councillor Mr. Makanya. I see Councillor Makanya. I see he's left his chair. I want to acknowledge the board of the EMC and our acting MD, Zenzile Kwamanda. Thank you. I will extend a warm welcome to all guests from various walks of the maritime sector, academia, and the multifarious maritime associations represented here and companies represented here today. And lastly, a special and very warm welcome to our ESD graduates. This day is all about you, right? The eThekwini Maritime Cluster, as the champion of the maritime industry, wants to proactively coordinate maritime knowledge to be able to produce sector solutions that will in turn maximize economic opportunities, specifically in the KZN province. We are on a mission to be a center of knowledge and innovation by offering world-class programs for the maritime sector. And one such program that brings us here today is, of course, the Enterprise and Supplier Development Program, which, as Zenzi said, was kicked off 3 years ago, and today seeing a total of 19 graduates from the SMME incubation coming through. The incubation journey has not been without challenges. I think Zenzi alluded to that. This being our inaugural ESD program, we faced several challenges along the way, and we also made a couple of mistakes. I think the key regret is a drop rate of about 52%. If you listen to what Zenzi said, we started with 40, we only graduated 19 now. And had we trained the full number, of the program, or the people that had signed up, the potential impact in terms of sector penetration and additional employment that would have been created would have been far greater than today. I think today we know of at least 60 direct full-time employments that have been created, and you can imagine, had we had the full complement of 40 people coming through, we could have had a much larger impact. Small enterprises need a strong business network to collaborate and access opportunities. Hence, going forward, in addition to this incubation program that we kicked off 3 years ago, we will continue to introduce new participants. So, as Enzi said, people coming from outside the maritime sector, people already in business, but having or needing to improve their knowledge of the sector and needing to gain more access to the sector. But we will also focus on extending support to the growth of SMMEs that are already in the sector. So there are people that are already here. They need access to information. They need access to a bigger network so they can identify more opportunities. So there is no reason why we should only introduce new people and abandon the existing ones, because I believe if we focus more as well on the existing ones and uplift them, increase their access to market, then we can actually make a much bigger impact. The thing with enterprise and supplier development tends to end with enterprise development, which is really the introduction of people into the industry, but they end up not really participating in the economy. So we need to make sure that we actually transition from just the introduction of new enterprises, but we need to turn them into actual suppliers, because really that's where the blood line of the economy is, in the small business. As I said, we will be incorporating some of the key learnings from the mistakes that we've made. It is an inaugural program, but we believe that we can do a lot more going forward. It has become more important with the advent of the pandemic and its impact on businesses. Company liquidations, I think we've all read, are at an all-time high. And then who is most hard hit? The small business. This lockdowns affects the small business more than the bigger businesses. Small business owners do continue to demonstrate extraordinary resilience, adaptability, and innovation. And what makes them as the lifeline or the lifeblood of our economy is that they have a high labor absorptive capacity and lower capital cost of job creation. So for an SMME, one-man business, two-man business, three-man business, it's easier for them to come up with an idea, proceed to implementation, and start creating jobs almost immediately. We will continue to advocate for the support and development of this sector. 3 years ago, We really started by crawling, then we walked, we started running, and now as teenagers, 13-year-olds, funny enough, I have a 13-year-old and they are quite a handful. So the only challenge that we will present to our strategic partners and funders is that we are now ready to take flight and take more people with us. This 19 must become 190, must become 1,900, must become 1.9 million, and so on and so on. But then for that to happen, we will urge our strategic partners to remain that, exactly that, continue funding us, increase the kitty so we can do more. Thank you so much.
Hans, thank you so much for that. And it's really humbling to know when somebody comes on stage and they admit that they have had challenges, they've made mistakes, and they are still teenagers. So I'm glad to hear you say those things. So, ladies and gentlemen, for people that don't understand or is trying to put this entire thing into perspective, we understood what role Zenzi did and what Hans did. So these are the these are the structures, which is EMC, Etiquette Maritime Cluster, and they're dependent on another structure to help them. So how I see it, and I hope that you guys can see it as well, is that EMC is trying to create a bridge or the glue that will that will bring small businesses closer to industry leaders. So that's how I see that they have a very, very important role to play in order to bring you guys closer to for economic growth. That's how I see it. So I could be wrong, but anyone can just correct me as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, I really like for you guys to visualize and picture, because if you're entrepreneurs, you should be visualizing and understanding where you're going. You're in the maritime sector, but then I grew to understand that you belong in different types of industries. But no problem, because at the end of the day, we all want to export more, and then we can increase our earnings in South Africa. So let me move on, because I am a generalized business person, but I love the maritime industry. Once again, Hans, thank you so much. Okay, let us move on. You are listening to me so attentively. I am so proud of you and so happy. Thank you. Nobody is even sending any Twitters, but it's absolutely fine if you want to tweet or look at your phone, no problem. Okay, the father of our nation, Nelson Mandela, he said, and I know you've heard this many times, but today is your day. Graduates, I'm going to constantly worry about you, because the VIPs I see all the time, but today is your day, right? So you've got to listen to me. Education, and this is what he said, education is the most powerful weapon which you could use to change the world. Now let's listen to these words carefully. This power that Nelson Mandela speaks about, it extends beyond the development of our skills, because he understood how desperately we needed it for economic success. And what economic success really means is that we, you and I, we individually, we need to gain more prosperity, more money, more wealth creation. It is important. We need it. And some people are shy to talk about it. But what is economic success? It is growth. And where does that growth come from? It comes from people like Zenzi and Hans that are going out there looking for sponsorship and funding to empower you guys. So we are deeply, deeply grateful for our funders. So let's come back to what I was supposed to say. Today, it is with delight that I have the opportunity to call upon your tutor, your mentor, your coach that over the last 3 years that have taken you through this journey. I must tell you, in our Indian culture, we have a huge amount of respect for our teachers. People that transfer their skills and knowledge, we never forget them. We honor them and we even pray for them so that they can share their knowledge. Today, I'm really, really excited to call upon your tutor, your mentor, Miss Vani Mudli.
A very good morning, Sanbonani, Dumalang, Mistress of Ceremonies, Ms. Yvonne Iyer. Thank you for that very decorative introduction. Thank you. Mr. Hans Modipane, Chairman of the EMC Board, Ms. Zenzile Gwamanda, Acting Managing Director of EMC, Ms. Tandi Sabelo, TPT Head, of Supply Chain Management, Mr. Takalani Ratiyaya, Deputy Head of eThekwini Municipality Economic Development Unit, Mr. Bongankosi Makatini, my favorite person in the room today, in addition to everybody else. Mr. Mervyn Pillay in absentia, Councillor Makanya, what a pleasure to have you with us today. And of course, all my favorite people in the world, the graduates of the eThekwini Maritime Cluster ESD program. A very, very good morning and Sanbanani. All protocol observed. I always like to say that. I never get a chance to do that much. So just to give you some insight into an overview into the ESD program that we were involved in, Vani Modley and Associates was assigned to train and mentor entrepreneurs linked to the eThekwini Maritime Cluster over a 6-month period. And participants were divided into what we call 2 groups. One was a formally established cooperative, and the other was a focus group on stevedoring and stevedoring. So the cooperative on aquaculture and then stevedoring and logistics. Aquaculture, logistics and warehousing, and then of course it was the second group focused on waste management, and the structure of the interventions was on a monthly basis, and 2 training interventions were conducted together with the group coaching sessions in the afternoon. So it was a full day session when we did get to interface on a face-to-face basis. Prior to the intervention, a proper needs analysis was conducted, and we did what we call a gap analysis and a self-audit process where both documents were circulated to all of the entrepreneurs and they had to complete that. The questionnaires required entrepreneurs to provide really detailed information on their business, and this included qualitative and quantitative information, and it included but not limited to information like access to supply of raw materials, competitors, costing and pricing strategies used, the challenges that they have experienced in business to the point of the intervention, their future aspirations, and a self-audit that focused on 10 critical areas in the operationalization of the business. So a bar and radar graph was tabulated on the self-audit to highlight the areas of need for each of the entrepreneurs. So it's important to note that the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic was unprecedented, hence unplanned, and struggling enterprises were really left worse off. And I think my previous speakers have basically indicated that as well. So those who were thriving were left worse off. Those who were taking strain experienced further strain. And not very many people survived the pandemic. And that is why we're really so proud that at least 19 people have stood the test of time, had the tenacity to continue and implement the learnings during these turbulent times and sit here this morning ready to graduate to the next level of their journey. So the findings during the training and coaching interventions and the findings of the eThekwini Municipality Economic Activity and Outlook Survey conducted in September 2020 is really also reflective of the above. And the needs analysis was used as a basis to create the curriculum. It's very good and well to have a pre-designed curriculum that we impose on a group of entrepreneurs. But we felt the importance and need to basically conduct a full analysis. So I'm going to give you snippets of the intervention in the form of the sessions that were conducted. At least 6 of the sessions were conducted online, and they were broken down into 2-hour sessions. And a very important component of this particular coaching session was what we call check-in. And then in addition from receiving feedback from the coach, feedback was provided by other participants to each other. Remember, the best teachers are those who are out there in the field, in the industry, and really doing the work on a day-to-day basis. And we need to optimize that relationship that we foster, because these friendships last for a lifetime. The 19 people here will never forget each other. They will continue talking and networking with each other, maybe in smaller groups, but that is basically the important point to remember. So we started off with entrepreneurial competencies, looking at our own competencies as entrepreneurs and assessing ourselves in terms of where are we stronger. And some of the our competencies assessed were opportunity seeking, persistence, commitment to work contract, demand for quality and efficiency, risk-taking, goal-setting, information seeking, systematic planning and monitoring, persuasion and networking, self-confidence. Session 2 focused on how does the economy work? Looking at current economic reviews and what does it mean for business. And the session really created an understanding of the economic cycle, how money works in an economy, the whole concept of supply and demand, terminology used in the economic environment like GDP, monetary policy, fiscal policy, consumer price index. What does it mean? How does it impact on the small business? Exchange rates and how they work, its impact on imports, exports and local price fluctuations. And what is inflation? What is recession? How does it impact on our business? And how do we start thinking of positioning and repositioning our business to cope and deal with inflationary and recessionary issues? The impact of inflation and recession on our economy. And, in the explanation of recession, I think they liked the best slide they liked was the changing sizes of the underwear as the years progressed, from the ladies' bloomers to the tanga, and then it said 2025, perhaps nothing. Labor and the impact of employment, unemployment, and labor costs on the enterprise. And we really brought in an expert, a labor expert, who basically unpacked everything to do with human resources and labor issues. And he was really fun and exciting to be with. An appreciation of the current economic environment and economic growth projections made by economists so that entrepreneurs could start positioning themselves. And remember, this was all leading up to each person coming up with their own business restructuring strategy. So the impact of COVID-19 on the current economy and what enterprises can currently do to become more agile in the environment in which they're operating, how to cope or survive in the economy. So session 3 focused on drafting a strategic plan in line with COVID-19 and business recovery, problems and objectives analysis that was designed. Each of them had to engage in that process after going through a theoretical process of understanding this. We used a business as an example to create these strategic plans, problem and business analyses. And participants were taken through a full strategic planning process to structure their business recovery during COVID-19. So the strategy included self-work and formats to achieve this were provided. So entrepreneurs are in varying levels of completion at the time. And just from interacting this morning, I see a lot of the action plans have been in motion with new contracts, and that's really so exciting given the times that we're involved in at this particular point. So the logical framework was also a key outcome, and each person put together a logical framework which basically focused on objectives, actions, timeframes, who's going to implement what, and means of verification, assumptions, hurdles, solutions to the hurdles, and of course, budgets. This session was, session 4 was aimed at receiving feedback on the application of the tool, address challenges experienced in implementation and concerns regarding business recovery. So in addition, we focused on product classification. Very often we find entrepreneurs being multi-focused, and we brought people's attention back to what is your core business, what is your core product or service, and what is your core intent for the business. Because you do too many things and a little in each space, and the whole doesn't develop. And once we focus and hone in, you would see far more success. So value engineering, product innovation and design were covered, understanding the product life cycle, and it's linked to value engineering, product innovation and design. And even the most successful companies in the world have to constantly innovate and value engineer their product or service in order to stay relevant and in order to propel their business constantly to the next level. Session 5 focused on markets and market segmentation, market and sales strategy, and the session provided a really clear understanding of markets, market segmentation. We had some fun exercises where they had to really do a pitch in the training environment, and on the online platform, actually. That session 5 was on an online platform, and it's very exciting when people have to be put on the spot to market a product or a service, and the language that they use and the way in which they perceive themselves and the product and the feedback that they receive thereafter. And of course, I had to make a decision as to whose product I would buy. based on the strategy used. So participants were encouraged to use the living standards measure surveys conducted previously by major companies to adequately capture their target market. Although the surveys are, the living standards measure is pretty outdated, it provides some kind of guideline in terms of income groups, their trends and habits and so on, and the classification of the groups, where they shop, what magazines and newspapers do they read, and radio stations they listen to, etc. So session 6 was focused on an elevator pitch and presentation skills, the use of audiovisual equipment, and participants prepared a pitch at that particular session. So the 30-second elevator pitch, we constantly referred to that. We constantly asked everybody to share that whenever we could, just to keep reminding. And it's interesting how the pitches evolved as we went through the process. Very exciting. The coaching sessions that were conducted online. So the format of the coaching sessions was in the form of a check-in, and I think I did describe that to you already. And it was from September to December that we had face-to-face sessions that was hosted either at a higher premises or at the eThekwini Maritime Cluster. So I'm just going to give you a very quick synopsis of that. We had session 7, which was basically the need to compile annual budgets, and the budgeting process was addressed. The importance of reviewing annual budgets regularly was explained, and the difference between cash flow projections and cash flow statement was explained. Participants were really keen to understand the use of the electronic format provided to reconcile historic information on the cash flow statement and project future cash flow on the cash flow projection. So they were shown how to effect the conversion for the respective purpose, and participants were requested to capture their historic data, their financials, from the beginning of March 2020 to date as part of their practice. So participants had a second chance after practice to share their elevator pitch and receive feedback from their colleagues as well as the facilitator. So very useful feedback was received from colleagues. Each participant was timed, and the quality of the information provided in 30 seconds was assessed and guided. Session 8, a detailed case study based on a manufacturer of leather sandals was provided. And this was a very exciting exercise because it took the entrepreneur from the actual transaction to designing a balance sheet. And whenever entrepreneurs look at documents of this sort, they get very, very scared and anxious. And this particular exercise was very user-friendly and very simple. Needless to say, everybody got it right, and they only got the model answers once they were finished. So that was really very well done. It's and I'm sure you face figures with far more confidence and gusto now after that particular exercise. Oh, it was on that day that we first did the Jerusalem dance together. So Zenzi, I don't know what the plan is for today. We may give them an opportunity to display their technical skills in dance routines. So it was session 9. SIFA and SEDA were invited to share their services and financing models through the Zoom platform whilst we were at a face-to-face session, and both these organizations were working remotely at the time. So SIFA had some new products that focused on township businesses, and they basically, our entrepreneurs were the first to hear about them, and they're now in operation. We also had Mr. Kulagani Ngubane from SEDA, who presented the opportunities and non-financial services offered by SEDA. And those who were interested completed their forms and gave them through to me. I think some have already been beneficiaries of support from SEDA that complement the EMC ESD program. There were also, I think Sibukali was looking at an online platform, Sibukali Traders, the manufacturer of vegetable crisps, was looking at an online platform that I think SEDA was considering supporting as well. We addressed governance and governance principles, and as you know, given the current economic times and the current issues that our country is facing, this is a very critical component to the success of any business. So once the presentations were over, governance and governance principles were addressed, and many entrepreneurs are in a dilemma due to the corrupt environment in which we operate. And it is appropriate for entrepreneurs to understand the repercussions of falling into the trap of unethical behavior and a violation of corporate governance principles and the impact on the business. A very interesting discussion ensued with practical experiences being shared by each entrepreneurs about the way in which they were positioned and put under pressure. The challenge is constantly, how does an entrepreneur conduct ethical business in an unethical society? And that is something that is an ongoing discussion and debate. Some interesting perspectives were raised with profound lessons being shared and learned. Session 10, and I'm almost done, covered the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, where we brought in Mr. Langa Nzuza, who's from Full Palmer. He's an expert in this particular space, and talking about minimum wages, compliance issues with regards to the Department of Labor, and the need for ongoing compliance, and how the pandemic brought people to a point where there was an opportunity to really sustain staff, even though no income was being generated by the company through the UIF TERS fund. So these are some of the benefits of compliance, because you can need it at some stage. Session 11, we basically spoke more specifically about marketing. We looked at the 7 Ps of marketing, and we provided clear examples. Elements of costing and pricing was covered in detail, and it's always exciting to know how entrepreneurs are surprised when they hear and they go through the principles and apply it to their own business, and to see how much of money the business is actually making. Yeah. I just heard this morning from Paula King that some of those principles came into very good use when she had to look at which of her products are generating what kind of income and where to place more emphasis on, and how does she generate her money at the end of the month, and which is the more viable to focus on. So these are important principles, and if people or entrepreneurs may not implement it immediately, but it starts a thinking process and starts a logical process of applying the principles as they go along in business. Session 12, the power of networking and networking skills, was discussed, and the facilitator demonstrated the power of networks by introducing her client, Mr. Bongonkosi Makatini, to mentor and support the waste management group in the space of medical and human waste removal and treatment. So participants were also invited to various online webinars on business, international trade, and strategy. And these were sessions being hosted by CEDA and the Department of Trade and Industry. And for those who couldn't make it, they had access to the recording of the information. We also brought on board Ms. Parusha Govender from TIKZN, and we brought on board Mr. Sishile Dlamini from the DTI and the Ministry of Small Business Development, who basically spoke to entrepreneurs about the different incentives, the support interventions offered by all these organizations. Session 13, basically participants compiled a lean business canvas and prepared for presentation to a panel of financiers, bankers, development financial institutions for feedback. And participants were introduced to the lean business canvas that captures all 9 business elements on one sheet. An example was provided by using one of the entrepreneurs in the training room, and each entrepreneur was provided with a format to populate this. Session 14, well, prior to session 14, we did have a mock presentation session in the training room, where those who felt confident enough basically did a presentation and received feedback so that they could finalize their intervention, their lean canvas. Session 14, presentation of the lean business model to a panel of financiers or bankers and development institutions for feedback. Each banker completed what we call a financier's feedback form, which were given to entrepreneurs for review and amendment of the lean business canvas. So the following financiers were invited and in attendance. We had SIFA, Mr. Pravesh Pillay, who participated online. We had NEF, Mr. Nhlanhla Skhosana, who was in attendance at the venue, and Ms. Busi Gumede, who was in attendance at the venue as well. And the feedback provided verbally on the spot was well received and very encouraging, and this feedback and rating was also provided in writing. And this informs some of the special awards that we are going to be sharing with you later on today, so you can sit at the edge of your seats now. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy, market uncertainty has really become a norm, and financiers appear to be hyper-vigilant about on lending at this time, especially for new business ideas. So in that instance, they requested offtake agreements and contracts which would not be negotiable. And I think a few months down the line, they eased up a little bit on that as well. So the coaching sessions overall were basically run after the training sessions on specific days, and we had aquaculture and waste management alternating in the afternoons. So these sessions were very, very productive, interactive sessions and focused on specific industries of the respective groups. Some skills development took place at the coaching sessions themselves. For example, the Insights Personality Assessment. A card game was played to assist with the identification of dominant color energies, and entrepreneurs were debriefed that the exercise is non-conclusive without a formal online assessment, but provides an indication and an understanding of personality types and how to manage people based on their personality or dominant color energies. So this also helped them conduct pitches to people once you understand the personality type, and how to engage at a networking platform once you understand the personality type. This actually facilitates the process of adapting and connecting and positioning a pitch. So the waste management group needed to understand the specifics of operating a medical waste company. The facilitator approached Mr. Makatini to provide mentorship support to the group, which he willingly committed to. So thank you so much for that, Mr. Makatini. It was an amazing interaction. The entrepreneurs really achieved a lot of value out of that. And I think their focus has become so fine-tuned that if it hasn't taken off already, it's ready to take off immediately. So an on-site visit to Mr. Makatini's plant was conducted, and he's in the process of self-funding a medical waste treatment plant, and he's willing to sign an MOU with our entrepreneurs individually to treat the medical waste. They will collect from hospitals, clinics, and doctors' surgeries. This is compulsory for the compliance process, and he has mentored the group on the compliance requirements, physically took everyone through the vehicles to indicate the compliance adjustments that must be made in order to achieve the compliance certificates. And Mr. Makatini invited Mr. Harry Becks from Ram Truck Bodies, who modifies all his vehicles. So Mr. Becks provided an overview and orientation to the compliance requirements of vehicles, the ideal vehicle to purchase, and the cost of modification, which gave entrepreneurs a really good the depth of information they required in order to consolidate their planning. So Mr. Makatini also provided an overview of the systems and procedures to ensure smooth operations of the business. And in addition, he offered to introduce the waste management group to the gentleman from the compliance department of the Department of Health for a debriefing on what they look for in the certification process. So for those that I know of at the moment, Mpendulo Nzimande has currently secured a contract to lift medical waste from an existing client and is in the process of finalizing his negotiations with Mr. Makatini. Mr. Makatini is been guiding the process, and they are about to sign an MOU once he secures the finance for his vehicle. He's actually told me last night he's ready to modify his existing vehicle to expedite the process. So and he's got a quote from Ram Bodies already to achieve that, right? So there are many such developments also with Dr. Kolisa Dlamini, who was on our program. She's approached the Netcare group and is in the process of negotiating a deal with 8 hospitals at the moment. Again, her compliance needs to be expedited. So just generally, the feedback from entrepreneurs has been very, very positive on the total intervention. They have found outstanding value and wish to continue the support received. So EMC, I don't think you're off the hook. So they have achieved significant milestones in terms of their development and plans despite the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact, and the evaluation after receiving feedback from the financiers was very positive. So here are some of the comments captured. The feedback from financiers was very helpful. I will be confident in my presentation now. I liked most the opportunity to link up with possible funders and get their expert advice. Today's intervention was so important. We got to interact with different funders and getting their expert advice on how to shape our business for compliance and funding. Another comment helps me go back to the drawing board. Another comment, very insightful experience, good preparation for future funding requirements and what is available. Getting advice from the funders, then sharing what they expect to see when we apply. Yes, I will definitely plan wisely and keep a close eye on my bookkeeping. I liked the challenges, feedback, and the environment. I improved my presentation skills and received informative feedback. Bring more funders to us, please. It helps our business to grow in capacity, have a strategic direction. Critically look at the market and devise contingency in the event of any hurdles. That was their takeaway. So we have detailed evaluation forms that are available at EMC for each of the sessions, and this is the level of feedback that we have been receiving. So in conclusion, finally, ladies and gentlemen, participants were committed to learning and enthusiastic about making a change and difference to their enterprise. The intervention was very well received and centered around the needs and changing needs of the entrepreneurs, really making for a dynamic intervention that has yielded good progress despite the impact of the pandemic. The economic environment and the catastrophic challenges the entrepreneurs were balancing every day in their lives. The time was limited with a potentially big scope as identified through the needs analysis, and we have tried to work with the constraints and optimize the impact despite the circumstances. I'd like to just share some thoughts from Oprah Winfrey, and I quote, graduates, are you listening? Great. I quote, understand that the right to choose your own path is a sacred privilege. Use it. Dwell in possibility. Nobody knows more about challenges than you, entrepreneurs. You've lived it, you've experienced it, you walk it every day of your life. And according to Oprah Winfrey, challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand. And that is what entrepreneurship is all about, isn't it? Our message to the entrepreneurs, every experience, every exposure presents a new journey and new opportunity. Embrace and optimize these opportunities and leverage your full muscle behind your business enterprise. For only you can make the choices and the difference you seek. We would like to take this opportunity to thank the EMC management and board, as well as TPT, for the privilege and opportunity to be of service to entrepreneurs and to help you make the incredible difference you make every day to the lives and future of entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship in our country. May you always strive to achieve new heights. Thank you so much for listening.
I'm going to get drunk with all that alcohol, but it's okay, I don't mind. Vani, thank you so much. She's been a brilliant teacher. And when I was sitting and listening, it was so many sessions. It took me 3 years to do my business management degree, and then suddenly I heard the 3 Ps and all of those things. And I thought, gosh, entrepreneurs, I feel for you. You did it in 6 months, and it must have been deep, and it must have been tiresome. But listen, you know what? It would have been worth it. I did corporate governance. It took me 8 months. I graduated in June. You guys had done it in one session. So basically, you know the importance of corporate governance. And if you are brand new entrepreneurs, please, you have that hat on, that responsibility of being good corporate governance. You know what it means. We need it. We need good people. There's more good people that is needed. And we'll leave all the other people apart now. We'll forget about it. Today is your day. It's a day to be happy, and let's forget about COVID and all. I want to hear about COVID. I don't want to talk about COVID today. I don't want to talk about corruption. I want to talk about happy things. Okay, so now, if you look behind me, this big thing here, EMC Maritime Cluster. I'm doing a lot of promotion for you guys. If you didn't know, especially the VIPs, graduates, EMC, you're here because of them, okay? So within the group of EMC, you heard Zenzile, you heard Hans, and then obviously you heard your tutor, which is Vani. Now we're going to move, you following my picture? Now we're moving outside, because what happens, in order for these people to give you what you have, there are other key stakeholders. So now we're going to cast our. I was going to use some words about the ocean, but we have a mixture of entrepreneurs. So let's cast our rod outside, right? But not too far. Let's stay in Durban. Transnet Port Terminals is South Africa's state-owned freight transport company, and they own and operate 16 terminal operations situated across 7 African ports. So I'm sure you must have known that. And if you didn't, I hope you took some notes. This is a massive operation. As part of their supply chain management, they look for companies. Now, you are small companies, right? But listen to what they're looking for and why they're doing this for you. They look for companies that they can procure and deliver cost-effective and high-quality goods for their customers. So they have customers. And then they make a lot of money as well. And some of that money comes for you guys. It is with the help of TPT's funds that eThekwini Maritime Cluster is able to meet the objective of creating this enterprise development program. This program, we're always hearing enterprise development program, for the expansion of business opportunities for small businesses such as you. So dear graduates, let me not bore you any more longer about Transnet because we have the lady here. We'll give the opportunity on calling upon TPT's Head of Supply Chain Management, Ms. Thandi Sebelelo. Please, if we could warmly welcome her. We need her. She's our funder. Come on, guys. You can whistle as well if you want.
Is it still morning or afternoon? Still morning. Good morning, everyone, and may I please say protocol observed. I have to make an apology, though, for Councillor who was here. Yeah, he did say I must mention that he's had an emergency. I think his wife and daughter are at hospital. He had to go, so profuse apologies. And we really pray that everything... Oh, sorry. Sorry. So we pray that everything goes well with them. I have to acknowledge EMC, Chair, Mr. Hans, Zenzile, Assistant Commander. You know, he's Tagazelo of where we married Sabelo Ukwamanda. So I don't know if we've ever spoken about that. I don't think we have. So I'm not declaring, I'm not making any declaration of interest, just so we know. So yes, and then I have to mention Mr. Makatini, you are here with us. I have to mention the biggest people in the room, the graduates. You know, when I got in here, I know Judas was angry with me because I'm late. I was just wallowed in the beauty that I was seeing, and I was just saying, you guys are looking so pretty. So I wish I was wearing what you're wearing, and you are here where I am. But well done. I think I last closely interacted with you. You were pitching your businesses. I was so impressed. I think we were in our boardroom in Transnet, and you came with very good ideas. So I agree with you, Vani. This has been a formidable team, and I think you will also agree with a coach like Vani. I mean, she's given a valuable, substantial sessions you went through, rigorous sessions that you went through, and under these turbulent times, I couldn't agree more, but you stuck it out. The greatest book that I read said, my people perish because they lack knowledge. So, because you've got knowledge, and knowledge is power, that's why you are here. And it is important that we acknowledge that we are here, all of us, by the grace of God. Many people have perished with the pandemic, but we are here, and you are here graduating, making success in the midst of such a pandemic time. So it is important that we also acknowledge that. I am here, like they've said, I'm Thandi Sabelo. I'm at Transnet Port Terminals. We operate in 16 terminals across 7 ports of South Africa, here in KZN, in Eastern Cape, in Western Cape. So we are all over. And our commodities really are bulk, your break bulk, your automotive. So you see cars that are coming here, it is us. It is quite a big business. I am here with a team led by Usis Mbali, head of our corporation affairs. He's here with Usis Bongi and the other team. My head of governance, of ESD, Enterprise and Development, who has been driving this together with me. Judas with Utembi, they've done an excellent job. That's why we are here. One of the things that I'm sorry I'm going to be all over, I'm not usually good. I know things get written. I'm not usually good with following Yeah, but but I do want to mention that Transnet has always been committed to sustainable growth and development. That's why in doing that, we've then partnered collaboratively and with strategic partners to ensure that we meet our transformation objectives. But the main of those is to make sure that we grow small and medium enterprises. There is no economy that will thrive if you don't grow small and medium enterprises. We are conscious though that our operations tend to be technical. I think that when we sit with people, they see all these cranes, all these big RTGs, all the equipment that we use to handle the cargo that comes in and out of our ports, and they get intimidated. And certain people have come to us and said, we want to do business with Transnet, but we don't know how. But because we've realized that we are technical, we said, let's invest in these incubator programs so that we teach people about the business of Transnet, so that there is, a knowledge about what we do, so that people can bring it closer to them. Because it is true that currently the big equipment that is out there is operated by bigger original manufacturers, your big OEMs. So when you have briefing sessions, you're sitting with 6 people in a boardroom as opposed to a big hall. So we said, let's invest in an incubator program. That's why we partnered with Osi Senzile and this ESD program. We said we will fund it, and we said we don't want it to be just an incubator program where people are exposed to general. We want them to be exposed about business of Transnet. So we were very intent and focused in terms of what are the areas that we want people to be exposed in, because we're trying to answer a call that SMMEs have and complain about. That is, they don't have access to market, but they also don't have access to funding. So we said we will fund it, but we'll also expose them to the market, which is the market of Transnet. Okay, so what we then did, in fact, we not only, we have other strategic partners as well. We partners with the chamber, we partners with TKZN. We just launched a program with TKZN where we're wanting to expose our black SMEs to importing and exporting. Because we fund what we usually call the Exporters Award. It happens every year. We fund it as Transnet. But every time we look, it's one and the same big companies that are recipients of these awards. And we said we have to do something. So we've partnered with KZN as well, Trade and Investment. We've funded them as well. It started this year. It's going to be a period of 3 years where they are going to rigorously take the SMMEs through the importer and exporter program so that they are able to thrive. And what I like about it is that it's practical. They're going to call on other entities as well. They're going to take them to other companies, but they're also going to take them to Africa. And I want you graduates listening to this to want to be partakers of those opportunities. It is important that we are intentional about these issues, colleagues. I nearly said saints because I always talk in church. So these things, they overlap. You know, when it's in you, it's in you. So I'm wanting to then paint a picture that says what we are doing here with EMC, we are doing it to make sure that people have an opportunity to come and do business with us. So what we did was, we've got key, obviously, technical areas that we are our core. So we just chose about 4, if I'm correct, Judas and Sensing. We chose stevedoring. And stevedoring obviously is a service that is very crucial for our operation in the container sector, container terminals, because we use the unleashing of containers in the vessels. So when the vessels come in, we use equipment to unleash and then take whatever cargo that's there, or when cargo is going out, we use same equipment, and there are facilities and other intricacies that are involved. So we said, let's expose people to stevedoring. There is a license that is required. you apply for it via our TNPA. So we also then make sure that they are aware of all of those things. We also exposed them to medical waste, what we call not really medical waste, waste management. We have a lot of waste in our terminals that we manage, and it is quite a lucrative business. So we just didn't want to expose them to things that are not going to make them thrive. So they are also exposed to that, what is required. They've been given that knowledge. And then we also exposed them to health and safety. We are very much health conscious as ports because we operate in land and water. So our operations are in between land and water. So risk is what we take care of, that it is managed properly, and there are a lot of opportunities in that regard. So we also exposed them to that. There was also aquaculture. I was very impressed with one of the graduates when they pitched their business on this area, aquaculture, and then obviously general business management, which is what Uvani was talking about. So those were the key areas. And I do want to mention that empowerment is not lip service. We are aware as Transnet that it is not our core to do ESD. But if, as a big entity, we are not going to invest, so yes, we have partnered with EMC because it is not our core to train, but we've put our money to make sure it happens. And we get regular reports from EMC and we interrogate those reports to make sure that where we put our money, we're going to see results. And let me tell you the results we started seeing. The stevedoring that I mentioned, we always issue a three-year on year tender around it. The previous tender before the one we just awarded another one 2 months ago. The previous one we had, I'm so impressed that the person who was a subcontractor, remember they were involved in the programs, then they tendered as a subcontractor to with the main contractor, right? And then they went on for 3 years. The tender that we just awarded now, the person who was the subcontractor is the main contractor now. So that is what we want to see. That is what we want to see. That, so our program is sort of tiered, and the tiering is such that we hold the SMEs to a point that they are able to go and penetrate, the bigger economy. But all of this requires resilience. Nothing comes easily. Sometimes you feel that I'm getting all this knowledge for what? I wake up in the morning, I have to find transport money, I have to do all of these things. I'm not seeing any progress. Persist. You are here today. You, as the people who are here today wearing these black gowns, are the people who will be laughing. But what it will take for you is to go after it. You have to want it. You have to go after it. And I'm saying this to you, colleagues, because the opportunities can be presented, but you yourself must then make something out of it. And I'm happy to hear, Vani, that there are project plans so that people are not over. There are project plans with timelines. You must set yourself project plans with timelines. So for instance, it's just a pity that we're in a pandemic. When we have these sessions with even our group, with even our other stakeholders, one day I will say to Zenzile, can you call 5 graduates? And I will just put you on the spot to say, tell them, remember, when people I always say, these breakfast meetings, when you're in the breakfast meetings and you've paid 120 in a breakfast meeting with very important people, make good use of it. It's like Umfana Michelle. If you have 2 minutes with a girl, say something quick. Say something quick. So I always ask those who say, hey, Sandy, I hear there's going to be a minister and so and so. Can I please get an invite to come? I say, when you come, what are you going to say? Hey, I just want to say, if you're going to want to mingle, I'm not interested. But if I come, if I say come and I introduce you, you have 2 minutes to say something. Because remember, you're saying those are very important people. Say something that will catch them, that will catch their attention. So it's important that we walk this journey knowing that it's also us that must do something, that must push ourselves. So, ladies and gentlemen who are wearing the blacks today, who are graduates, and I'm focusing on you because you are the people. For me, for you to be here today, after all of it, if I were to give you, each one of you, an opportunity to come here, to say what you have gone through to be here, maybe we'll all cry, but make good use of it going forward. Do not be intimidated or discouraged by people that you call that you don't find in the offices. Persist because you know where you're going and you know what you want. Now I want you to be a close friend of the TPT website. I see the one that's a National Treasury, the big one. I'm talking about the one that we have. One of the unique things about us as Transnet Port Terminals, we respond to calls and to the plight of people. So the SMM is at a certain point saying, we don't get to be given an opportunity to even quote, because people give these quotations to their friends. And we know we've spoken about the cancer of corruption, and which we need to nip in the bud. That's why even when I speak in meetings like this, I always say to people, no businessman here will say they had dinner with me because I don't do dinners. You want to meet with me, you meet with me in the office. Opportunities are for everybody. So you're gonna have to be a friend of that TPT website, because we responded to a call that says we don't get codes. We said all our quotations are now going to be in our TPT website, so that everybody is able to see, everybody is able to respond to them. So anything that is under 2 million, and with the DOA that's just been increased now, it's going to be under 5 million. We're going to put it there. We put it there. So when you go to the TPT, www.transnetportterminalsoneway.net, you go to under business with us, and then you go to quotations. That's where you will see they are all there. KZN has got its own, Western Cape has got its own, and Eastern Cape. Please make sure you then go after those opportunities, because you start somewhere, hey, and then you tear to the next level. So we are going to have a chat. I know you said here, as Zenzile, we would like to get more and we would like to continue. You know, when people make proposals on the podium and they know that all you can do, because there's people, you can smile. But we will talk, because in every crisis, we must see opportunities. I know many businesses are feeling that it's pandemic, they're cutting all of such ESD programs. We won't do that. We will not do that. So we will make sure that we continue to fund. There's the person who's got the money there, you know, the one that's taking. That one, when I say, Judas, there's the kids, youth that I saw, please, William, what can you find? Empathy, there's no money. That one there, now I'm here in the podium. So we will. I would like us to chat, because the beautiful thing that I must say that I'm so happy about, so proud of, is that our Transnet group has said they want to use our service providers, because they had private service providers and I think things didn't really, so they want to use our service providers. So let's talk, Zenzel. I think there's opportunity for us to talk. Lastly, as I sit down, I could really say a lot, but I don't want us to spoil the day. The day is for them. What I want to encourage you, participate intently. I want you to have a book where you are able to write that these are the targeted businesses that I'm targeting. These are the targeted people that I'd like to have an appointment with. Don't have a long list. Just keep it to a maximum. So as to a sizable list. If you say you want to have 10, and then you put a project plan for yourself, discipline is very important, you must be focused. Put a list for yourself of opportunities or entities you think your own business will respond to. Number 2, do not be selfish. I did say this when you had pitched your business, work together. If there's an opportunity that you see that's big, and you know that I can't chew it alone, don't say, oh, now I have to phone that other one and expose them. No. Work together. Remember, even if you start by getting a revenue of a certain percentage, you will grow. So work collaboratively together. So I expect you as the people that are here, 19, to be each brother's keeper. You know what each one of you is doing. Make sure when you see an opportunity and one is not there, you phone them, you forward information to them. That's how you grow. I've found that people who are open, who give, it just comes back to them. Give, it will be given unto you. Press down, shake it together. Yeah? We are obviously aware of the circumstances that are very strained financially. We are going to sit and look at, of ways how we can help. But I want to tell you, we've also partnered on the financial side with NEF, National Empowerment Fund. We put in 60%, and they've put in 40%. Yes, part of it comes as a grant, but another part of it comes as a loan. But for us, it's important that you don't get an opportunity and you can't now proceed because you don't have funds. So in how to access that or how to be part of that funding, you can also talk to either Judas or Utembi. They are here. I'd like to thank the staff of EMC. Chair, thank you very much for what you're doing. And for me, it's like a child. I work with passion. You can see that the team here at EMC is very passionate about what they're doing. And that's what you want to see. You saw the energy Gavani as a mentor, as a coach. That's what we want to see. So I want to thank I want to thank you. I want to thank the staff that I'm working with, Judas and Tembi. I've already thanked them. I want to thank Mbali for the team spirit, because all of these things, I always say, you can't say the head of supply chain there. I work with the team and they make things happen. And I want to thank you, graduates. I want to thank you so much. And I'm thanking you because I know what it took for you to be here. And I want to encourage you once more, make good use of these opportunities. Do not be intimidated by any door. If you want to wake up and write to any department, any minister, tell them your story, do that. Because what you must never regret is that if, when people, if I could have. So because you are here, you've run this far, this mile, make sure that you see it up until the end. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Tandi, that was so beautiful. Actually, it's really good. It's so good to find such a powerful woman and a woman of God. And I hope that those golden nuggets that she shared with you, you took some notes or mental notes. I can't remember mentally. I normally write it down. And I think she's presented many ideas from her website on how to use it to, let me tell you the impact of networking. Do you know Vani told you have to have the 30 seconds pitch? That's, if you take Vani's 30 seconds pitch, and if you take Ma'am Tandi's, she's going to give you an opportunity into a room full of people. That's where your 30 seconds pitch goes into. So you have to tie what Vani teaches you to the key stakeholders. Okay? So thank you so much, ma'am. I really appreciate you. Let us move to the other stakeholder. The other stakeholder, you'll see the board there, next to Itifeni, next to EMC. So before we start talking about the municipality here, I want to give you an overall vision of what's happening around here. I think the word vision is not right, but what is happening on a general scope. South Africa's population is now sitting at approximately 57 million people. How many of you here knew that? Nobody. Okay, I gave you a fast fact, right? Because I Googled it yesterday and I double checked on Stats SA, so I didn't make this number up, I found it. The province of KwaZulu-Natal, we have approximately 11 million people. So here in Durban, we have, any guesses? Do you know what's the population of Durban? Yeah, someone's right there. So we have approximately 3.2 million. Where am I getting in this whole thing? There's 19 graduates. which means you were selected for you to be here from the municipality. So we're grateful for the municipality to make sure that you guys are here. So let's go back to Itiqueni municipality. Within the municipality, it's a massive division. They take care of a lot of things around us. But let's hone in on why they are here and what difference they are making to your lives and our livelihoods. The Economic Development Unit within the municipality, I like the word mandate because when you speak to these people that work there, just throw the word mandate because that's what their job is. Okay, so their mandate is to promote economic development, job creation, economic transformation, and my most favorite, economic intelligence. And that's why you have a program, that's why you are learning, because they want to empower you economically so that you are going to become those entrepreneurs that they have invested in. And my God, I have to tell you, it took the most difficult route. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint hearted. It is difficult. I know it because I'm married to one. My daughter decided to become an entrepreneur. Now my son has decided to become an entrepreneur. And sometimes I think, why didn't you just go work for a factory, make shoes, bring the money and come home? We can just have a nice bride. But no, they decided to become entrepreneurs, and after 1 year later, they just make a little bit of money. But that's just the route that as parents we have to accept because that is how money is right now. It's very far and few and in between. Anyway, let's not take the highlights away from the municipality. I'm getting a bit carried away. So this unit that we are talking about, they provide a massive support for Itiqueni Maritime Cluster, especially on this economic program. So let's put our hands together and welcome the Deputy Head of Economic Development, Mr. Chakalani Ratiaya. He'll address us now. Thank you.
Good, I don't know, still morning or afternoon? Oh, still morning. Good morning, colleagues. Program Director, let me take this opportunity to thank you for introducing me. And I must also, say that I'm a little bit intimidated after coming, most especially from, our colleague from Transnet. I think she was already thinking that she's in the church. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to, to do as well as she has done. But anyway, thank you very much. I'm not going to, take that much of your time because, the people that have already spoken or came before me, they've already said a lot. So I'll just try to be brief and short. Um, Anyway, Umi Savella, she didn't do the protocol. I am a government official. I have to do the protocols because that's how we have been educated as government officials. So let me start by saying, I mean, acknowledging the presence of the MEC board chairperson, Mr. Hans Modipane, Mrs. Tandi Savella from TPT in absentia, and then Bongingos Makatini, the mentor that was also providing support to, to the graduates. And then in abstention as well, my political leadership, Councillor Makanya, EMC partners, funders, and then the people that, they have made us to be here today, the SME graduate that we are here to celebrate with them today. And then all protocol, observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. The city of Durban or eThekwini has been a long-standing supporter, for the eThekwini Maritime Cluster. in actual fact, we established this institution in 2008 in partnership with our industry, the maritime industry. It has been encouraging to see the EMC growing from strength to strength, despite all the challenges that we are seeing in our country. I mean, Vani, she has already indicated to you some of the challenges as the country that we are going through. For example, a stagnating economy that is not growing at all. Our state SA colleagues last week or so, they've released the second quarter unemployment figures. That we have been told that, as I'm speaking to you of to date, 34.4% of our people are unemployed. So we know the challenges that as the country we're going through. And then most recently, is the recession. It was also the downgradings and the COVID-19, and then what has happened in the last month. The civil unrest and the looting and the destruction of property. Today, as we mark the key milestones and acknowledging, the great work that has been done by our SMEU, the graduates, and more so significantly, the role, and the contribution that has been made by our, key strategic partner, Transnet, and Transnet TPT, in this regard, into the program that we are today celebrating, the graduating of, the 19 people that were involved in the program. This was not going to be possible without the partnerships with the industry. And yeah, we should also acknowledge some of the companies that are within that space that are with us here today, who has also opened up their doors for the SMEs to get real on the job experience and job opportunities, and for them to be active economic players within this complex and unique sector. I mean, when Miss Savella was speaking, she was talking about Steve Doring. I was like also wondering, at least the people that are here, they've been exposed to this Steve Doring. They know what is Steve Doring right now. So we really appreciate the work that the EMC has done to expose, our, graduates into this industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the maritime and the related transport and logistics sector is a very key sector for our local economy here in KZN and in Etokwini municipal areas. It contributes significantly, to the economy of the city, and it is for this reason that as the municipality and as economic development, we have prioritized, the support of this sector for its development and growth, and then in this regard, the Maritime Industry Development Program that is being implemented by EMC in partnership with us and the industry, is a very, very important program for ourselves. So I did indicated that I'm not going to, take that much time. So in conclusion, I want to take this opportunity to say congratulations to all the SMEs who are graduating here today. We are confident that this is the beginning of a new chapter for you. And as the city, and then together with our partners, we want to wish you or to confirm that we will continue to supporting you through the partnerships with our EMC as well as the other partners, You have heard what Ms. Sabella also said, that from their side as well, they will still continue to be with us. So, with those few words, I want to say congratulations and all the best in your new endeavor, and hopefully, the next, for example, the next the next tender that TPT is going to be issuing out for stevedoring, it will be one of you, who are sitting here today with us. Thank you very much, Program Director.
There was supposed to be an international speaker here, but I see he didn't pitch up. There is something that EMC is working with. It's a program with Germany, and Germany provides skills and skills development. So I don't know if you looked at some of the photos that were earlier here. They are providing executive support for people within EMC. So I won't bore you with the particulars. Let's just move on. Our next speaker is Dr. Langa Dlamini. Dr. Langa Dlamini will give us a few minutes because we are really waiting for the graduation part of it. So he's the Executive of Maritime and Econometrics from the Moses Kotani Institute. I'm so sorry, first time I've got that word wrapped in my mouth.
It's tricky.
Okay, perfect. So just to remind you, a few minutes.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll be very brief. I greet you all. So happy to be here. You've heard it being said, and I'm going to repeat it. Do not despise the day of small beginning. Why? You guys are counting 13 years. For me, it was 15 years when I sat down as a maritime lawyer and I was asked to draft the constitution of the EMC. So it's my honor and privilege today to be standing here and find myself in a room that looks so different than what it was at the time when you walk in and have 95 to 99% of white faces. Today I'm sitting amongst people who look like me, who think like me, and who want to achieve things that I want to achieve. So it's an honor and a privilege. Today I'm coming from Moses Kotane, as MC has said. I'm the Executive Manager for Maritime and Econometrics. We're a research institute. We advise predominantly the province on how to grow the economy. But my unit in particular focuses on maritime, as I've said, for purposes of today. And we have a partnership with EMC. There are programs that we do together for capacity development. So it's really an honor and a privilege that today, and it's a source of pride. I'm glad to stand this back. I was going to ask permission to see if I can disclose that we're classmates, but I won't disclose because I haven't got your permission. Today's event is a culmination of Ethereum Maritime Cluster's commitment in ensuring that Black women and youth-owned SMEs are able to participate in the ocean economy. This vision of an inclusive and transformed maritime industry is a common denominator between MKI and EMC. So that little contribution that you have, please don't put up with an excuse that you're too busy. We started this, I was working a 16-day job at the time. You will find that 1 hour, 2 hours, and contribute, and call others to contribute with you. We have a very systematic decline in our society, which you've seen, which was witnessed more closely in the beginning week of July. The only way you can secure your enterprises that you've worked so hard for is if you give back. And you are purposeful about it. You are intentional. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be incidentally secured. You have to come out and say, I raise my hand up. I may not little. I'll come along somebody who knows little. Quarter and quarter is half. 4 people later, we have a whole. So you can't just step back and say, I'll see it happening. So in our space, we're conducting research to help you and others in the city and in the province to see what the future is going to be like. I'm sure you've heard that in the next by 2025, you're going to have the first automated ship coming along the coast. We're looking at issues like that so that the ideas, you do not get surprised. So if we send out surveys and ask you to participate, please do participate. It's part of the intentionality that we're doing. That's our contribution in the space. We really want to see you being placed in a better position. We're not only thinking about you, we're thinking about your children. In the same way that in 2005, 2006, we said we can't do this. In circumstances where it was really looking bleak, there was no chance that you can have so many black faces saying anything about maritime. So you have that responsibility that to whom so much has been given, so much is expected, but not according to your strength, according to grace that you have already. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Langa. I must say we are extremely blessed to be, to have you here, to have your presence here, and to even know that you contributed to the constitution of the maritime sector. So I'm quite excited that I got to meet you. I think our next on our program was supposed to be the testimonies, which would have been the video clips. Is it the video clips? Are we going to be playing the video clips now? Okay. Time to take the popcorn out.
My name is Zenzile Kwamanda, the Acting Managing Director of eThekwini Maritime Cluster. EMC is excited and very proud today to have reached this milestone where we are graduating 19 of our SMMEs who have been part of the Enterprise and Supplier program for the past 3 years. Just a little bit about the cluster before I tell you more about the project. eThekwini Maritime Cluster, basically what we do, we provide a platform for collaborative engagements between the different levels of the government and the maritime community at large. And the idea being to implement the programs of a common interest that supports the growth and improve performance and effectiveness of the maritime sector. Just to touch a little bit about our maritime community, it comprises of the government and some of the departments that we have basically engaged with in different programs. I can mention the Department of Basic Education, Department of Higher Education and Training, Department of Agriculture. I can also mention the SOEs, for instance, the Transnet, who have partnered with us since the formation of the cluster in 2009. And also not forgetting the different maritime industry associations and the general community at large. EMC was formed in 2009 by eThekwini municipality, and our vision is basically to be the knowledge and innovation hub for the South African maritime industry. And if I can just mention some of our programs, which are actually the pillars of the cluster. There's 4 programs that we are currently running as a cluster. One of them is training and skills development, which looks at the development and the supply of critical skills for the maritime industry at large. And then another program is the industry promotion, which looks at promoting the industry, maritime industry, both locally, globally, and also regionally. And the marine manufacturing, which is also another project where we work with the boat builders, ship repairers, and the main project that we're currently looking at this program is the development of a boat building park, which we still working on in support of this sector, the boat building sector. And then we have the enterprise and supplier development projects. Basically, this is where we ensure transformation of the maritime industry, which is through the development of SMMEs and also their participation in the maritime value chain. So in 2018, EMC was really honored to have Transnet at TPT, to be exact, coming to partner with the cluster and in starting the ESD project. And at the time when we started, we're actually looking at the SMMEs who are already in business, but not necessarily within the maritime sector, but they were interested in knowing about the opportunities of doing business within the maritime sector. And when we started the project with Transnet, at the time we were looking at the three commodities. It was stevedoring, waste management, and also health and safety. And we had 40 SMMEs who started the journey at the time with us. And then through the journey, we were also very pleased to have Transnet allowing us to add the fourth commodity, which was the aquaculture. Aquaculture, one of the people who are going to be sharing their experience and also their journey with the cluster is going to be taking us through that journey regarding that particular project. And today, as we sit here, we have 19 of our SMMEs who have completed the journey and are part of this graduation. And they will be sharing. We've got videos. We've also got some testimonies of people who are going to be telling us how being part of this project has benefited them as SMMEs. So as a cluster, as eThekwini Maritime Cluster, we will really like to thank Transnet, to be TPT, for the support that has been given on the project. None of this would have been successful without their support. And also as a cluster, we would like to thank eThekwini Municipality for being the pillar partner and stakeholder in the implementation of EMC programs, and also in driving the maritime agenda within the city. And to our ESD beneficiaries who are here today and part of this graduation, as a cluster, we are saying, as they leave the nest today, we would like to wish them everything of the best as they go out there and starting to position themselves for bigger opportunities within the maritime sector. Our vision as a eThekwini Maritime Cluster is to be the knowledge and innovation hub for the South African maritime industry.
Our business is about hygiene and waste management. When we started the business, we started as a hygiene business and we did maintenance. We have clients where we've maintained and we did services such as yard cleaning, sweeping, general housekeeping, office cleaning. It has been such a privilege and an honor to be part of this program, as it has taught me a few skills that I was lacking in the business arena. When I started this program, I started as an individual. I did everything myself. The program made me realize that I needed a professional space in order to operate a professional business. I've since acquired the workstations that you see before us. I've since partnered with strategic partners in order to make sure that there is an existing business. We have an organizational structure. We have our operations department. We have our sales department, which is still consists of myself. I look for new business. I see opportunities where there are. We have our IT, which consists of one individual. We have also our operations, which also consists of one individual that assists me and in our office. We also have our team that is spearheaded by Mr. Kumete, that is our waste management team. When we were doing maintenance for water and sanitation, we saw a gap where we can do waste management, and we saw a company by the name of EnviroServed, and then we were intrigued at what they did. We did a bit of research. And then we knew that, you know, our business had the opportunity to expand. We could expand from a hygiene and cleaning business to a waste management company. The great opportunity that EMC afforded us was that it had direct information on how to, you know, be out there in the market, how to showcase ourselves, how to better equip ourselves with better skills, how to professionalize ourselves. So there was a lot of upskilling that EMC afforded us in terms of our business ethics. Currently, we are servicing a few clients that our operations manager, Mr. Kumedu, will know directly because he services them directly. I'm more on the, you know, securing of jobs, liaison with clients, and ensuring that the business as a whole operates, and I ensure that everything that is, you know, going on in the business goes on well. So basically, I'm the heart of the business. In the near future, we are hoping to acquire more skills, do more training in order for us to tackle those more specialized types of cleaning. We are currently looking to explore container cleaning as one of the services that we provide. We're wanting to handle asbestos, so we need training to handle asbestos safely, as it is highly hazardous, and you know, it needs to be disposed of in a proper way. So we need that skilling to upskill ourselves and our staff, because in every company, safety is very important and it is key. Going forward as well, we want to do training of high level, because with these sort of trainings, they will open opportunities for us in the industry. We can always look at high level cleaning in terms of the harbor. You know, when vessels call in, we can do hatch cleaning that can assist. You know, we know that Transnet has, you know, high level buildings. We know that Transnet has, you know, high level cranes. Their operation is based on heights. So there's different sorts of operations that goes on, and that would probably need cleaning of that nature. And by us being skilled in that nature, we'll be able to handle that type of cleaning, and we'll be certified to handle that type of cleaning, and we'll be working in a safe way. And I know that our stakeholders, they pride themselves on staying safe all the time and making sure that their staff is always safe. So we'd like to mirror that going forward, as we would like to partner with them and be a preferred supplier in terms of our services. We hope to acquire land in the near future where we can treat our own waste, where we can recycle our own waste. Currently, we are looking for land along the south where we can possibly, you know, start an operation of that nature. But at the moment, we are small scale. This we are probably looking at in the next 5 to 10 years. But you know, you need to start from somewhere. So we have started. We do cleaning. We need training. So now we just need the business in order for us to grow. My name is Moya Oktulenzimande, Managing Director of Coastal Cluster Traders.
TN Development Projects and Management. My company is the beneficiary of EMC ESD program. We started in 2019. At EMC, I was introduced to maritime sector and to enter into stevedoring. But as time goes on, aquaculture surfaced in, and we were interested in doing aquaculture. EMC introduced me to UKZN to do a social entrepreneurship program. That's what makes our company to be more on community development and also social enterprise. And what we did here in the community, we arranged 3 cooperatives to work with us to benefit on what we were benefiting from EMC. We started aquaculture project because we had interest in this fish farming. We sent our members to a number of trainings in Bloemfontein with the assistance of EMC. They came back and then we started our rudimentary fish farming. And my company put something like 80,000. While we're on the way, EMC came on board and gave us about 78,000 rands, which was the seed fund that we were able to do the bigger infrastructure that you saw down there. In a year's time, this project was able to create full-time job for 3 people that are working every day. This project is going to support our beneficiaries with food security and also with a commercial side. While satisfying the basic needs, it's also satisfying the business side of it. And I must say that through EMC, the recommendation of EMC of this project to UKZN, right now we're working with UKZN. They are doing the re-engineering of the plan so that it adapts to so that our design adapts to the requirements of the law. As we are talking right now, maybe next week they will be here to figure out all the project or the whole project design. That's why we ask assistance from EMC to engage with Department of Fisheries to access their ADEP funding, because we are now dry with regards to funding. I think that is the long and short of. We came to EMC as TN development projects and training, but today we are trading as cooperatives development services, because we have 3 cooperatives that are right here on site, which are being incubated in aquaculture, poultry, and hydroponics. We are going to have that journey with them for the next 3 years. My name is Themba Mkwaba. I'm the director of TN Development Projects.
Ozel is doing lift and escalators installation, maintenance, and modernization. We're based in Durban, and I've been a part of eThekwini Maritime Cluster since 2018. I've gained a lot of clients and trainings as well. Currently, I've recently got a contract with Transnet, 6 months contract. And also I got a contract with eThekwini Municipality. It was a once-off contract. And also I got a contract with Game at Mpangeni. I was subcontracted under IFE. That's an IFE elevators. So I've gained a lot of exposure with eThekwini Maritime Cluster. I was using an office space, using their internet, using their phone to do a call to my clients. So eThekwini Maritime Cluster assists me a lot. So being part of GIZ training that I was assisted by eThekwini Maritime Cluster to be part of it. It will also uplift my business from buying the spares from Germany, and most of our lift here in South Africa, they're using German spec. So to me, it's an advantage as well. So I'm really, really grateful for being part of eThekwini Maritime Cluster. My dreams and hope for the future is I want my company to operate all over the country. Lift skills is a scarce skill. I also want to do trainings to develop other youth for lift skill. I would appreciate if one day I see a lot of black people in the industry. My name is Nokwanda Dlamini. I'm a director of Ozel Trading, trade as Ozel Lift.
Bear with us, we have one more very, very important speaker. I believe he's been a phenomenal leader. He's a great entrepreneur. I'm not going to take the limelight. I wrote a big paragraph about what you do, but I've been told that I should cut it down as well. So I'm going to listen because it's important that you guys have the time. So let me call on stage the director of Makatani Waste Solutions, Mr. Bongi Kosi Makatani. Please, may you? Actually, clap for him and welcome him to the stage. He's been extremely phenomenal.
Thank you, Program Director. Ngikhiphile ngiyanibingelela nonke. Cishe ngathi egameni likaMfeli wami uJesu. Sisithandi ngimzwile esecishe eyangakulapho ke. Kodwa ke ayikho into wrong. I'm a very passionate businessman. I love what I'm doing. I'm not going to take too much of your time. But I'm going to try and be quick. For all what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and motivate you. I know I'm a guest speaker. Being a speaker, a very long speech, but I decided to change it. It's going to be more of motivated, and I'm going to be practical. Okay, my name is Bongi Kosi Makatini. I come from a family of 7. So 7 lepeka. I'm the last born out of 7, 4 girls, 3 boys. I grew up in a business environment. My dad owned a general dealer. A general dealer, I'm sure we all know. You sell fish, you sell bread, you sell paraffin, gas, nickel, you sell almost everything. It was a very, very small general dealer. And my dad ran that general dealer for 30 years. We grew up with your general dealer, and Baba was from this was a school in Sonke, out of the income coming from that general dealer. And I remember very well, we were not fortunate in Vagasha if it's school holidays. We didn't get the chance to visit our friends because we knew if it's holidays, it's work. That's how I grew up. So before I can start my speech, I just want to introduce my son. Undawazo, can you just raise up, please? That is my firstborn son. He's also in business. I'm mentoring him because I believe in business you need to have a succession plan at the end of the day. If something happens to me, I would love to see this business growing. My first business, the business that I started was, it's named NNK Logistics. It's been running for 11 years. It's called after my kids. Ntokozo, Nonhlanhla, and Karabo Trading. It's Ntokozo was the firstborn, Nonhlanhla, and Karabo Trading. We were so fortunate, we were awarded a contract to transport human specimens. I'm talking about human specimens. You go to the doctor, they suspect maybe you've got cancer or they suspect something. They will draw blood out of you, they will take human specimens. So we were fortunate to get that contract about 11 years ago. We're doing work for NHLS, which is National Health Laboratory Services. So we run a fleet of just over 100 vehicles that are transporting those specimens in KZN and in Gauteng. Then 5 years ago, I started asking myself, what happens after these specimens have been tested? Then the answer is it becomes medical waste. And then 5 years ago, we started a company called Makatini Medical Waste, which was born out of NNK Logistics, which is Dogozo Nutlanza and Karabo Trading. We started that company. It was not easy, I must tell you. It was not easy because the industry has been monopolized by the white capital monopoly. I call them capital monopoly. They make sure that no one will enter the space. And I had to fight. I must say, I had to fight to make sure that we get into the space. One of the speakers here, you must partner with one another. I think it was this time. Partner with one another. I fought for a very long time. You're not going to believe, there was one time where I issued an RFQ out in the market to say, I need a supplier who can supply me with these boxes, with the containers that we use in the medical waste space. And that same company took that RFQ, he sent it to this competitor of mine who's been monopolizing the business for the past 22 years. And that competitor sent the email to me to say, oh, now you want to take my suppliers. And my response was, I thought this is a free country. So why I'm saying that, I'm just motivating you, Guti. Out there to be a businessman or businesswoman, I'm glad about graduating, there are a lot of ladies, you need to fight. Getting it in business, you need a very thick skin. If you are a CC, maybe don't get into business. You need a thick skin, you need to fight. You need to fight, but I'm not saying literally fight, but you have to claim it. You must claim it. So you claim what you believe is yours. So we got into that space, and in 2019, we saw an opportunity to service the entire Department of Health in KZN, and it's a very big contract. We move about 500 tons of medical waste. When that opportunity came, I realized I don't have the capacity as Makatini Medical Waste. Sister, you must join forces. Take 2-3 of your people, of your colleagues, come together, form joint ventures, subcontracting arrangement and all that. And then I invited a medical doctor. His name is Dr. Sikiti. He owns a company called Bushe Waste. It's based in Johannesburg. I brought him in. I said, listen, there's a contract. We need to move 500 tons. I don't have the capacity. Can we form a JV and we service the department? And Dr. Sikiti agreed. He said, I'm in. We've been servicing that contract for the past 2 years now, and the client is very, very happy. When I believe in starting small, you have to start small. You know, I need funding to start funding. I don't know, maybe I'm in old school. When I started my business without even a cent from the bank. A cent from the bank. My first contract to move specimens, it was a very small contract, but I can't say it's small because I needed 18 vehicles, 18. I had, I was so unfortunate that when I started that business, it was after losing another business, and I was blacklisted. I think I had about 10 judgments against my name, and who can give you a finance if you've got 10 judgments? No one. So I had to look around. Eventually, I find a supplier. I'm going to talk about, about 5 people or 6 that you need to really respect in business. I found a company called Key. They're in Pinetown. It's an Isuzu dealership. They had confidence in renting me 18 vehicles. Why? Because they saw an opportunity. I sold myself to say, listen, I've got a contract and I will pay you. They took the vehicles out of the dealership. They gave me those 18 vehicles. But guess what? I was paying a premium rental. Why? I'm a high risk. Okay, I'm a high risk. As much as I've got the contract, it's a 3-year contract, but I'm a high risk. The reason why I'm saying this, I'm just showing you, to know that it's not easy in business, but you fight, you press on, you press on. After 3 years, I worked on my credit record. I made sure that I work on it and pay those that needs to be paid and go out and negotiate. Eventually, I came out of ITC. The next contract came, it needed more vehicles. Now, then I was able to do what? To buy the vehicles. You know, and now these days, I'm not ashamed to say I issue an RFQ to the banks if I want to buy something. I don't deal with one bank. I say, come, tell me what rate are you going to give me? When we use prime -1, and then the next one will say prime -2 or whatever, I negotiate. Because now I've got that strength. Why? My business is doing well, my credit record is good, you know. So those things, but you start somewhere. You start some. I don't believe in getting funding. You need 20 million rand funding. You business 1,000 rand. No, it doesn't work that way. You start at home. You talk to your relatives. You start small. I mean, funding will get you on the way. You know, on the way, and it's very easy. If we funders will come. I'm telling you, they will come. They will see that you've got a passion on what we are doing. You've started, you've already invested money. Today, I'm very proud. Some slides. When we first started, we didn't have our own plant. So we got a certificate which was called a transfer station. So that certificate allowed me to collect waste from the waste generators and put it straight on the trucks and ship it all the way to Johannesburg. The costs were very, very high. But today I'm very proud to say 2 weeks ago I received my machines from China. We called it autoclaves. Two are from China. And can you restart it, please? 2 are from China, 1 is from Germany. And I'm building that plant cash. It's a 35 million rand project. I'm building it cash. Not that I've got too much money, but I took the money from the business. I reinvested the money into the business. You know, sometimes it's good not to owe anyone. To try and do things cash. I know Abanyaban will say, hey, don't use your own money, use the bank's money. But I'm an old school, I believe I don't want to owe anyone. You know, if you owe people, you become a slave. You become a slave, yeah, bank. Sometimes they call you, but if you know you owe no one, you sleep very well at night. Another thing is compliance. You have to make sure that you are compliant. I've got a certificate for my waste license. We had to do an EIA study, which took us about 12 months to do. We paid a lot of money. We paid about 400,000 rand to do that EIA study. It's very important that you do your business, you make sure that your compliance is above board. Multi-layer freight, it's a clearing agent, is a black guy. We support our black brothers. If I want companies I want to be supported as a black company. So I also need to support our black sisters and black brothers. Okay. In closing, nginalento yokuthi kunalabantu in business that you need to respect. In business, I'm not shy to say this. God must be the center. He must be in the center of your business. He must be in the center of the business. You need your family. You need your family. You know, you go out there in business, it's tough. zakushaya izinto kunjani, but when you come back home, you need your part of your family. Baxoxele uthi hey namhlanje kube kanje namhlanje babanje you know, just to comfort you. There are good times, there are bad times. You need your family. You need your doctor. You need your doctor. You know, guys, especially men. I lost my brother 2 months ago. When prostate cancer. My brother, as I tell him, due to prostate cancer, we only discovered as it was stage 4, and then he died. As men, I know we are scared to go to see the doctors, but guys, what's the point of you making money, but you're not gonna live long because you are scared to go and check all these things that needs to be checked. Okay, and then the third one, it's your bank, your banker, or your bank. You know, you need them. You need them. Not more like you get some building that for cash. I don't need. There are times where you need them, but if you need, when you need them, you must make sure that your things are in order. Uvani was talking about balance sheet, projections, and all those things. So you need to make sure that you've got a good name with the bank, your credit record. If you've got an account, you pay on the 1st of every month. Make sure you pay on the 1st. The minute you start paying on the 5th or on the 2nd, your credit record affects negatively. Make sure that you've got there's an app, your credit profile. Every now and again I check to see if everything is still okay. Increase your rating so that if you go out, you need some funding, it's easy if your credit record is right. Okay. And then I think this is the last, your suppliers. If you remember very well, there was this supplier key in Pinetown. They trusted me. Right now, I mean, my fleet, all my fleet, I buy Isuzu fleet. I support them. Not long ago, last year, we bought new trucks. We bought about 22 trucks. We spent about 20 million rand, and we gave the business to them. Why? They supported us. When I had no business, they were the one to say, we support you. We've got confidence in what we are doing, so we support you. Why should I go and support somebody else, man? You know, sometimes we look at rands and cents. So come when you look, no, I'll give you 10 cents cheap. But it's about relationship in business. When I buy vehicles from that dealership, sometimes I take delivery before even the finances is arranged. When the finances are arranged, the vehicles are on the road, they are working. It's a relationship. Okay. So in closing, that's all what I can say, but congratulations. You start somewhere. You start small, you work out, it's not easy, as I said. It's not easy, but kumnandi ubona ama-fruits akho esekhula. I must also say, I was in a program, I cannot forget that. About 7 years ago, Vani will remind me, it was a coaching program. It was hosted by Vani and Associates. So Vani made a very, very big impact actually in my business. I must thank you, Vani. You know, I remember it was CEDA. Yeah, it was funded by CEDA. I remember they took us to India for about 2 weeks. We learned. You know, the one thing that I saw there, the culture of working. You know, people are not lazy, they work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'll call the name, he'll come to the front, you'll get the certificate, we'll pose for the photo, and then you'll go back to the seat. Thank you. The first, I think you will just do all of them and then we'll all clap at the end. Then we don't waste time by clapping. Okay, the first person is Mr. Sifiso Adonis Butelezi of Howard and Adonis Trading Enterprise CC. Thank you. And then the next person is Ms. Nwanda Nojabolo Dlamini of Ozel Trading Pty Ltd. followed by Mr. Patrick Dunn of South Africa Steel Components Manufacturer Pty Ltd. Followed by Nkululeko Gumede of Namisile Cleaning Services Pty Ltd. Ms. Pumla Lohabe of Pumla Investments Pty Ltd. Thank you. Followed by Ms. Nobile Spesihle Makoba of Silowe Trading Pty Ltd. Thank you. And then followed by Mr. Temba Herim Gwaba of TN Development Projects Management and Training Pty Ltd. And then Ms. Sanele Mgadi of Winter Night Investments Pty Ltd. Okay, after this, thank you, Ms. Sabelo. Then I'm going to request Mr. Ratiaya from eThekwini Municipality Economic Development to assist with the balance of the graduates. Thank you. This is Sanele Mgadi of Winter Nights. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Sabelo. Let's give a round of applause, please. Mr. Ratia, if you could please come to the front to assist with the balance. The first person is Ms. Sbongile Mtabe of Sibokali Traders, CC. Followed by Mr. Cosmas Melusi Ndlovu of Cosmas Trading, Pty Ltd. Ms. Nopila Patricia Ngobese of Scotty Business Enterprise, Pty Ltd. Ms. Paulesi Zolazi Ngobo of Luano Q3 Trading, Pty Ltd. Ms. Nokolo Doli of Kolo Projects and Project Supply, Pty Ltd. Followed by Mr. Bendulo Nzimande of Coastal Cluster Traders, Pty Ltd. Ms. Mbulugeng Ramolo of Real Infrastructure Group, Pty Ltd. And then lastly, Ms. Nada Nozimbali Zwane of Kagaza PH, Pty Ltd. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think now we can give them all a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to request Uvani to come back on stage here to tell us a little bit about the special awards that we're going to be handing over.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's always the most difficult to distinguish those who have excelled to those that have really, really worked hard, and collectively, everybody has worked extremely hard to ensure that they achieve the success that they aim to. But there were a few people who stood out in terms of the effort that they put in, and in terms of the success that they have achieved, and in terms of the observations that were made during the program and even post the program. And of course, there will also be the financiers who provide feedback in terms of their ratings and comments that have also been taken into account. So, can I go ahead and announce the winners of the special awards? The Innovation Award, and that is basically if somebody is in a particular sector and they see an opportunity that they can diversify into related to their own sector, and that can expand what they're currently doing also to make a difference, goes to, let's have some drum rolls, Dr. Kulisa Dlamini. She's not here. She's left already. She's had a bit of an issue to deal with. So that was Dr. Kulisa Dlamini, who is a medical doctor by profession, and she saw the opportunity to become involved in medical waste. So she's currently negotiating with 18 Medicare clinics who will basically be, that she is trying to facilitate the medical waste removals for. The most bankable business, and this is the decision from, in terms of their ratings, by the financiers who have basically assessed the presentations, and that goes to, drum rolls, Ms. Sibongile Msabe of Sibakali Trading. Can we have Ms. Tandi Sabelo? Thank you. So Sibakali Traders produces vegetable crisps, and she's taken it to the health market and looking at new ways of innovating so that her products have a wider reach as well as become more recognized as a health product. Well done, Sibongile. And we have the most inspiring business. And just when you sometimes think there's no opportunity, the pandemic has really overcome entrepreneurship. And there's absolutely no way forward. We asked Mr. Hans Modipane to come forward to hand over the award. The most inspiring business award goes to Ms. Nokwanda Dlamini from Morel Trading. Well done, Nokwanda. Despite the difficult circumstances, Nokwanda has secured a new contract with the eThekwini municipality, and her business continues to thrive under difficult circumstances. And that's the business that services lifts and elevators, right? With the moving stairs as the escalators. Well done. And we call Mr. Takalani to hand over this award. It's called the Trailblazer and Youth Empowerment Business. Now, this particular person had the choice of flourishing on his own or bringing on board communities and empowering the youth. Over to, drum rolls, Mr. Temba Mgwabe. Over to you, Mr. Mgwabe. Well deserved.
I'm humbled. Mapindela, thank you very much. Guamani, thank you very much. Tewini Municipality, thank you very much. I'm pitching. I have Steve Adoring Youth Cooperative that TN developed, because when I was introduced into this stevedoring, I thought I should grow young at 30 years. To grow young at 30 years is to bring in youth. I would like the second phase of incubation to incubate that youth, because I'll never reach Canaan now. I'll just point Canaan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mgwaza, and a very, very well-deserved accolade. Ladies and gentlemen, a very big thank you to the entrepreneurs for staying the course and for doing everything you possibly could to take your business to the next level. Congratulations and well done. And I would be absolutely amiss if I didn't take this opportunity to congratulate and highlight a very special recognition award that has been awarded to our own Zenzi Dwamande. She has been listed as one of the 100 most influential supply chain women in Africa 2021. What a big honor and accolade. Well done. I think we'd be completely amiss if we didn't highlight that. So we're very proud of you, Zenzi. And it's a new sector for you. You walked in, you embraced it, and you're just excelling. We're so proud of you. Well done. All the best.
Thank you, Vani. Now can I request my chair, Mr. Mudibane, to come to the front and to do this last leg of our session. Thank you.
Thank you, Zenzi. And once again, congratulations, well deserved. And again, congratulations to all the graduates, and especially those that won the special awards. As I've mentioned earlier, we started crawling, walking, we are now running and just about to take off. But then for us to maintain the height and to be able to take on more people, we again want to urge our funders and strategic partners to remain exactly that. And just to show our appreciation for all the support you've given us over the last year or the last few years, we would like to give you just a token of appreciation. I think we will start with TBT. Okay, Sis Tandi, if you can come get your token of appreciation, please.
I think you can stand there. Thank you very much. Our next token of appreciation will go to the municipality. Mr. Chakalani, thank you so much. If you could come to the stage, please.
Can I also ask my colleague Norma to come and join me?
Yes, absolutely, Norma. He needs you. And for our lovely leader and entrepreneur, the most inspiring person I've met for today, Mr. Makatini, if you could come and accept our appreciation, our EMC's token of appreciation, please.
Lastly, we would like to thank our program director, Ms. Yvonne Ayo. Thank you so much for directing the program professionally. For us, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm so well taken care of. Thank you. I think we've come to the tail end of it. And there's just one more person that we need to call upon the stage, and he's the chairman for the ESD program, Mr. Mervyn Pillay, who will officially give the vote of thanks. Mr. Mervyn Pillay.
I notice we as a group here are not afraid to embrace God in our lives. So I think we can give first thanks to God. And then I want to do a blanket thank you. I think there's so many people that contribute to the success of EMC and its programs, the success of the graduates. So I want to do a blanket thank you firstly, just so that we don't offend anyone and we recognize that everyone does contribute in some way, shape, or form to the success of the organization. So that's it. I want to start some special thanks, and the first special thanks goes to Transnet Port Terminals. Thank you so much for your funding over the last 3 years. I also thank you for keeping the door open to have further engagement and further discussions about how we can take these programs forward. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to thank eThekwini Municipality Economic Development for your gracious funding and for your partnership in our programs. I think it's very important that we have such a strong partner, and really you're a vital link in our chain. So without you, we're not going to be as strong as we are. So thank you so much for your partnership. We've covered through the morning and part of the afternoon how valuable coaching and mentoring is in the success and development of our graduates. So I'd like to extend our thanks and gratitude to a few people. Mr. Peter Sandon, I think he's not here today, but Mr. Peter Sandon, to Vani Mudde and Associates, thank you so much for your contribution. To Makatini Medical Waste, thank you so much. I think what we'd like to do is also ask for your continued support and expertise through the rest of the years, so that we can continue to make this program successful. We'd like to thank SA Cargo Services, not because Hans Modipani is part of that organization, but for allowing us the opportunity to share information with the graduates for exposure and business awareness. Thank you so much for that. To King & Son for giving the graduates practical exposure to the stevedoring operations. We'd also like to extend some thanks to APSA, to Itala, to SIDA, SARS, DCCI, and Productivity SA. Without you, our contributions are not as great as it would be, so thank you so much for all the efforts. I'd like to thank the board, the EMC board. I think there's a lot of work that gets done behind the scenes, people giving up their times in their busy roles. I think it's important to recognize the board and their contributions. Lastly, but not least, I want to thank Senzile. I think the acting MD has shown a great amount of passion. In the short time that I've met, that I've interacted with her, I've seen that passion coming through. I've seen how jealously she guards the EMC brand. Just a week ago we were talking about how do we sustain this brand, how do we make it have longevity and last. But with someone like you, we already catalyze that process that we can take it forward with so much conviction. So thank you so much for that. And then before I close, I just want to add, we at EMC, we realize that we have a great opportunity to address the several aspects in the maritime and the surrounding environment. We are fully committed to driving change in the environment. We had some speakers speak about transformation. It would have been largely White House 20 years ago. But we see the demographics of change, and that's great. But we have a great opportunity to drive change, to have successful programs and to create jobs. So we are thinking about our alliance to other stakeholders as well. People in the industry that do have similar programs, do have similar objectives, and we'd like to see how we can partner with these organizations to streamline our objectives and to basically get more value for every rand that we invest. So thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have now officially drawn the program to a close. I would, on my personal capacity, like to thank Zenzi because she was the one that made this possible. My greatest skill is not public speaking. I have to tell you, I have another skill in a different area, and she'd given me an opportunity to program direct. So thank you very much for being so patient with me and listening to me. With all of these words, I'd like to wish you well. God bless you all. Enjoy the lunch that you have. And please, today is your day. Own it. Go home. Enjoy this moment. Really, do enjoy it. It's a fantastic day. God bless you and safe travels back home.